to go through listings, um, keeping in mind that a lot of listings are on more than 30 days, 45 days. Some are going to hit 60, some are going to hit 90. So we want to make sure we have a full plan on these listings, how to market them long term. But I also want to make sure we're all doing like all the things we can from the start to make sure they sell quicker too. Am I breaking up at all? Okay. My video's lagging here. So, all right. So kick us off, just quick touch on the market. So obviously the market shifted. We've been chatting about that a lot. Listings are on much longer than even 6 months ago. Seeing a lot of 45 plusers. So average days on market in Calgary right now is 42. So if average days is 42 on market, that's something we need to at least plan for in our heads, right? So 45 days for sure. I need to market this thing. Might be longer if it's something that's harder to sell. So in your mind, you should have at least a 60-day plan. And then the nice thing about if you have a plan for the first 60 days is if you're going past that, you can kind of just reset and redo that same plan because you can relaunch stuff, you're going to lower prices, you can do a bunch of things. So it's really having that first 2 months at least planned out. And then that way you know what you're doing and your clients know what you're doing too. Sellers' expectations are still very high, as we know. They want it sold fast, they want it sold for top dollar. So setting that expectation ahead of time is good, and then telling them ahead of time, hey, this is what we're gonna do first week, second week, first month, second month. And then they'll start having the head like, oh yeah, this might not sell in the first 30 days, but my realtor has a plan for the next 30 days too. So marketing obviously is what we do. We need to sell homes. Year ago, year and a half, 2 years ago, didn't have to do a whole lot on the marketing side, but we are kind of back to we have to earn our dollars again, which is fine because this is where you get better as a realtor, we get better as a team, and then people see the difference. And when it's a hot market again, we'll have even more listings than the other realtors. So making sure we have the strategy, like I touched on, obviously professional pictures, video, 3D tours, all that every single time. If you have the same process every single time you list a house, then everybody knows what to expect from you and you will have better results in the end. So life cycle on listings, I've kind of broken it down. So the first 2 weeks is obviously max exposure for your listings. So you want big social push, lots of open houses, lots of traffic through the houses. You're gonna have the best audience too because you're gonna come on with multiple posts and videos and stories, and everybody's paying attention. So that's your big flood. Then you hit the mid cycle, and this is where a lot of realtors fail, and that's because your engagement obviously drops off as soon as you hit that mid cycle. Like people are like, yeah, whatever, that's on the market. This is where you got to start standing out and make sure you're always keeping things fresh as you go. So on social, there should be new posts. For the area, there should be, maybe more door knocking or more sending out to your CRM or more of you just driving traffic through with realtor open houses, that kind of thing. And making sure that you keep the traffic up through that mid phase. Once you get past the first 60 days, then you're kind of far enough along. You're going to want to start thinking about how do I reposition the property? How do we take advantage of a good price correction? How do we reframe this property? Because clearly it's not landing with people. Or, what can your clients do to make the property a little bit better or make it stand out more? So you have those, start having those conversations, which is nice. Questions on that? So Lauren, you're in second week right now on that listing.
Yeah, we're today's 2 weeks. So we're going into that mid-cycle now. So yeah, I'll start picking up on marketing again. We cooled off a
Yep.
little bit on the open houses, but we've got 2 showings booked for today and tomorrow. So that's good.
Nice. Sounds good. And then Sandy's in the first phase on the one she just put up. Emily just put a new one up. So you guys are in the easier part, let's say, because there's lots of new stuff to put out. And then as you hit that mid cycle, you got to be a little more creative. So we got some good ideas for it. So launch phase, just so everybody's on the same page. Everybody's been doing pretty much everything from what I've seen, but pictures, 3D tour, and video on every listing should be 100% what you're doing. If it's really rough inside, just focus on the outside. I mean, Emily's already done that in the past too. So like, oh, it's on the river, great. Lots of river shots, some drone. Like you don't need to focus on the inside if it's beat up or if there's stuff everywhere. The nice part is on pictures, if there's stuff everywhere, that can all be removed. So like the one I have in High River, that place, well, the bedrooms were a disaster, but it just looks like empty bedrooms in the pictures. And now that tenant is moved out, so it is just empty bedrooms, so everything flows for me. So remember, pictures can be doctored, videos a little harder, but you can focus on the area, focus on the neighborhood, focus on exterior shots when you can't do a bunch of interior. And then, Kyle's very creative on the interior. He can get shots that look pretty good, even if there's like a bunch of stuff in the background behind him. So keep that in line. Under a million, um, a reel's fine. They're usually a couple $100 with Kyle, or if you're shooting your own reels, get them edited cheap. Over a million, you really should be doing a full length video. At that price point, most sellers will expect that, and it is a better way to market it on YouTube if you have a full length video. So over a million, you should be planning for that. This is not anything set in stone. It's really up to you. I've done full length videos on $600,000 houses too. So sometimes I want to give the client a really nice gift, which is like a really nice video of their house. Or sometimes I do want to market that really hard. Cochrane ones for families. I've gone and spent $800 on a full length video before, and honestly, it gets me more listings. So there is an advantage to doing, more expensive and bigger videos, even on lower price point. Just for expenses sake though, like that's why I usually avoid the higher end videos on under a million when I can. Doesn't make sense to spend more than like 10 to 12 to 15% on the high end of your commissions on some of these expenses. Seller story or letter to the buyer. We'll go through this quick, but basically, this one works really well. Sid's really good at doing this, and I think a very good thing to implement is have the seller write a letter about the home. So you're writing, you could write it to the buyer. You can just, I've done it before where they just list like, these are the things we love about our home. You do it a few different ways. But if they write a genuine letter about the home and why they loved it so much, that's a lot easier to portray that to the buyer. That's something you can leave out of the house, and that's something you can actually turn into the MLS description as well, which lands really well. So Sid did this on the last few listings. She took the seller letter and put it in ChatGPT and just started like crafting that into the MLS description and then fix it up personally after. But that sets your descriptions apart. Then people start reading it and they're like, oh, this is like addressed to, me, or it's telling me how my family could live in this house. And all of a sudden they're going to be more engaged to actually read the MLS descriptions. And it just kind of brings full circle. So that's something like it should all try. I think it makes it a lot more personal experience, and it's a great thing to have at the house instead of just the same flyers all the time. Email blast to your database. Get the word out ahead of time too. You can blast your own database whenever you want. Doesn't need to be the 72-hour rule. You can put out coming soon stuff to Real Broker ahead of time. Doesn't have to be 72-hour rule. You can, if you got something good, if you want me to send deal of the week to our database, because we have quite a few people in there. I mean, most of you are good about sending me, but just send me the details. I can do deal of the week to our database too. I'd rather do your guys' properties than other people's. So, and then boosted ads is something to look at. So you can boost your posts. You can also run PPC campaigns based around a landing page for that property, which is probably the more powerful way. But even if you do basic ad boost, or sorry, post boost, at least you get thousands of eyes on your video or your listing right away instead of maybe just hundreds. So think about it. You don't have to spend that much on this stuff. Again, our partners like Axel can set you up and show you, but some of this stuff's pretty easy. You can just boost some of your posts too. So keep that in mind, but exposure is key. And this is something you can continue to do through the life cycle of the listing and not just at the beginning. So you're like, oh, I boosted a post, got lots of views, great. and that stopped spending 20 bucks a day for a couple weeks. Okay, it hasn't sold. I've dropped the price. Let's revamp the ad and send it back out again too. So it's something you can keep going on these properties, but just remember, like, views are important. And I mean, so I have that land, I have a land listing right now. It's a high land listing. There's not that many buyers for commercial properties at that price point, right, in the country. So I have ads running on that. I'm spending quite a bit. That's a $50 to $70 a day ad to push it out. So I've already had like 15,000 clicks or something. I've only had like 3 leads register from that 15,000 clicks because of just where it's at. So like, but if I didn't get all those views and all those clicks, I wouldn't even have those 3 extra leads. So like, depending on the property, you might have to go further. If it's like a $700,000 house, if you run ads, you will get a lot of views and you will get clicks. So, but it is a numbers game. So the more people that see the property, whether it's online or in person, the more chance you have at selling that. Anything you guys want to add for launch phase? Anything else you guys are doing? Do you want to touch on door knocking quick too? So, Am's good about this too, but going around the community at or just before launch, but especially setting up that first weekend of open houses, definitely a key thing to do at launch phase.
I was just going to say, I actually just order, or I'm picking up today my postcards that I'm going to use for my open house, and letting Sunset know this home is just listed and on the backside. Open house Saturday and Sunday. Basically love to see you, right? I just want to invite the community out.
Yeah. It's a really good way to go, guys. It doesn't take very long. You don't have to hit the whole community, but like, hit as many doors as you can around the listing, especially, or if there's an area of the community you want to talk to those people, invite them. Like, if there's the estate section, you're like, I really want to talk to more people there. Like, you can specifically go in your streets and invite the streets you want. But go around the listing too. The nice part is a lot of people that live in the neighborhood know somebody that might want to move to the neighborhood. They might have family or friends. They also might be thinking of selling themselves. So you get double whammy. You can hopefully increase the chance of selling your listing, increase the chance of getting more listings. It's like, listings are easy way to get into people's minds, whether it's in their DMs or in person. Like, hey, I'm inviting you to this open house. I want you to come check it out. It's a great listing. You know, our clients worked really hard getting this ready. Maybe you have someone that might want to see it. I'd love to chat with you. Just, it's an easy way to invite them out, so you don't have to be salesmen, showing up at the door for no reason. So.
Also, I learned this the other day that I didn't think it was, that important to knock on the actual neighbors like right next door, but I learned that's the like best thing to do because those neighbors already chose to live there, so they're the best advocates for that neighborhood. And I had one for my open house. Only one neighbor came in, and their first thing that they said was, I have a friend who is renting downtown and I want them to move closer to me. So that worked out pretty well. But yeah.
Perfect. Yep, that's exactly what it is. Like, honestly, if any of my neighbors are tell me they're gonna sell, like, I have lots of friends that want to buy acreages. I'd love to have them live right beside me. So
Yeah.
like, and that goes everywhere. Like, people want their friends or family near them. People might have parents. I mean, in Montero, people come and their parents come, or vice versa, like, constantly. So yeah, 100%. Right around the listing is great spot, and then hit as many streets you can get to. And try to do it like a day or two before the open house. I know sometimes people are scrambling, they're doing the day of, but if you can do it the day before, increase the chance people will set aside the time, or a couple days before. Mid-cycle, so it's the refresh time. So one thing a lot of people don't do is swap out the highlight picture. I actually swap out the highlight picture like every 15 days. But at least like when you hit that 30-day mark, something to think about. So swap out the front picture because people have seen the same picture. So if you change it up, it will cause some people to stop and take a look again. So like, change up the picture, change up the description, refresh the MLS description. That really helps too. Um, Change the picture order if it makes sense to do so. If you have it in a specific order, you want to walk people through the house, that's fine. But if it makes sense, switch up the pictures a bit too. Just try to get it fresh in people's minds. Send out deal of the week to your database regarding that property. You might have done it already, but you can do it again, especially if you're doing any price corrections or anything. When you get to this refresh time, like 15 to 45 days, let's call it, like start your content needs to keep coming, but it can be something different. So like do market update for the area, do highlights of the neighborhood of the area. If you're doing a price improvement, make sure you tell everybody, hey, there's a price improvement. We think this is a really good house at this price. So you can switch up your content, but keep focusing content on that. And I'll show you guys a checklist in a minute. Finally redone it all.
And
And that'll
Andrew,
kind of guide you. Yeah.
did you do a list of like mid-cycle content, like a
Yes, I have
checklist?
the checklist, so I'll show you.
Okay, because I have some ideas too. I'll just wait to say it until I see what you put on here.
Yeah, sounds good. Quickly on here, and then I'll show you guys the actual checklist I made. But mid-cycle checklist for yourselves is like, have I posted new content in the last 14 days? Have I re-engaged my seller with any new marketing ideas? Now this one is good. I mean, Sid's got it written all over her notes and checklist too. It's like, bring ideas, right? Like bring your solutions. Don't just call your client and be like, well, it's not selling. Tell your client what you're doing to get this property sold. Have you run remarketing ads or refreshed your ad MLS copy? So like look at everything, anything needs to be refreshed at this point. Have you emailed the listing to your database? Have you emailed the listing to other agents working in the area, agents that just sold things, agents that are always selling things in there? Because if you always have listings somewhere, you usually have buyers too, or someone on your team does. So make sure you keep engaging realtors to do this stuff together. Does the price reflect the current market? So when we're on a downward swing like this, like, are we correcting the price fast enough at the right speed? Are we correcting the price too quickly? Like maybe you just need to have a good conversation with your client, say like, hey, it's only been 15 days. Let's, we're getting good feedback. But either way, you need to keep thinking about pricing and where you're at. And if you're 60, 90 days later, I mean, we've all had that. If you're 3 or 4 months into a listing, I mean, the price is not right. And like the market's now lower than it was. So I constantly have that and show your clients all the time. Have I hit the community door knockers, and how else can I drive traffic? So community events, realtor open houses, like the community open houses. I like on the high end stuff doing the community open houses all the time too. Those are really great. I get wine, get all the old ladies come and hang out and drink white wine, and everybody checks out the house, and you have really good conversations. We've had, when I had a listing in Cougar Ridge, I was on the very high end for that neighborhood, almost $2 million. We had to drive the traffic. So between open houses, community open houses, and realtor open houses, I managed to get 45 groups through the home in the first 30 days. And they had it listed previously with another realtor, and they had 2 showings ever. And they just didn't have any feedback. That's why they're so mad at the other realtor and fired them. So we got 45 groups during the first 30 days, had all that feedback. With that feedback, convinced them, hey, it's priced too high. This is where it's going to fall. We got the offer in that price range, and he accepted it. And the only reason he accepted something 150,000 lower is because like I had all of the feedback saying like, this is all you can expect. So driving traffic is key. So like, how else can you drive it? And if it's been on for a while and you haven't done a realtor open house, like great time to get a bunch of realtors through there and have a good time, and great time to get the community back engaged. All right.
I have some ideas too, if you guys want to write down, that I've been doing, because I've had a listing that's kind of been sitting for a bit. So I'm actually driving up to Carstairs today to do more content for this listing, because sellers are asking, right? Like they're trying to make the next moves for their family. So they're like, what's next? So you can take that letter that Andrew is talking about, that letter that the seller wrote, and you can turn it into a carousel post. I did something very similar for agents on the team. Like I did a love letter to the agent that hasn't met us yet. And then I'll be doing the same thing, a letter to the family who will be living at Lackner Boulevard. And then it will take pieces of the letter that she wrote. And that would be a carousel post. The second thing that I've already done, and it did really well, is the carousel post of all the listing photos. So I took the listing photos Kyle got done and a couple from the community, and I wrote what life would look like and then insert the address. And then it was a carousel, like coffee in this, on this 40-foot deck. I don't know, movie nights in the finished basement, that kind of thing. Another thing is, this is what I'm going to shoot today in Carstairs, but my favorite places in Carstairs. So there's like a sandwich shop Riley and I always go to. I already contacted them. I'll be shooting content to that today. I'll be going and getting pictures of the walking pond. There's the community garden, all the stuff that like the community would sell. And then another post would be why families are choosing Carstairs over Calgary to raise a family, or why families are choosing Cochrane over the big city to raise a family, or why people are moving to Airdrie over Chestermere, those types of things. So, and then you answer it in your post. And then lastly, like the price, any price reduction post. I missed this one, but I'm going to make it today because it just recreates hype around the listing when there's a new price on it. But those are a couple ideas you guys can keep in your toolkit if you ever need to market a listing longer than 30 days.
So on the screen, you guys see the checklist? Good. So pre-listing appointment, this is, we had this checklist before, so I've refreshed it all. I know some of you are asking, so apologies it wasn't done. I have pre-listing appointment checklist I've left on here, so good reminders. So send an email, thanks for connecting, send them information that you can ahead of time, prepare a listing package, prepare the net sheet. I have a Canva version now too for the net sheet. Send pre-appointment emails to people. Send them our Google reviews, send them your videos, set it up before you get there. Because, like, if you roll in and they've seen all that, it's just so much easier. Like, most listing appointments I get to now, they're like, well, we've watched all your stuff and you're clearly the person we connect with the most and we want to go with you. Perfect. Then we can just hang out for an hour and we're already done the hard part. It's like, send everything you can ahead of time so that they can understand who you are and who the team is and what our marketing style is too. Minimum 2 touch points prior. So, you're calling them ahead of time, or you're sending emails, you're texting. You should be texting or calling day of, offering to bring things, that kind of thing. Like, make sure the human connection part is there. And then show up early and well prepared. Not too early to the door. People are scrambling, they have lives, but like, show up to their house early. You can have a walk around the block, check some things out if you need to, and get to their door on time or just before. Post listing appointment. So send thank you email. Like, I usually send it the night I get back or the next morning if it's a night listing appointment potentially too, depending on time. But send a follow up if you're not signing the contract on the spot. Send the follow up email. Thank you and all that. Keep in touch. Once you have things signed, I put the form name right in the checklist now because we're always trying to figure out what it's called. But the Realtor Cooperation Disclosure and Consent Form is a form you sign that says if you're not listing the property right away on MLS. So the date on the listing contract needs to be within 72 hours of the live listing date on MLS. And if it's not, you either have to have one of these forms signed ahead of time or do an amendment. So I recommend, which is what I do now, is I just get the form signed. And that way I can start the contract whenever I want, usually the next day or the next week. And then that way I'm covered on commissions if I sell that off market. And then I'm also just covered for when I list it. I'm not worrying about list dates. So just have this form, have it signed. I just get my clients to sign it with the listing package, and then we're good to go. I can list it whenever I want during the contract period.
So do you essentially just have the Ezra dated like a date, like a day or two after the Realtor Cooperation Disclosure and Consent Form, or
Yeah.
essentially the same day?
It can be the same day as long as the consent form signed at or before.
Yeah, just
the
have to get it
listing
signed
date.
first. Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I just put it all in the same package now.
Yeah.
If I'm sending a DocuSign or bring it with me if I'm signing in person. Book the staging consult. So it's easier to have the stager reach out to the client and figure out the time. I mean, some clients you might have to do piggyback this and kind of figure out who's doing what, but most of the time I just try to get the stager to call the client and to figure out the time. So I'm not trying to get everybody's schedules aligned, but send the stager the info. Please reach out to this client. Here's their address. They are ready for staging consult anytime you guys figure it out, and then they will bill you. If you're using Donna Lee, I just send her an email and say, this is the address, these are the people, please call them. She takes care of it. She tells me when it's done. She sends me an update and we're good to go. So just make sure that's done though. If it's not furnished, not necessary. In the past, sometimes if it's not furnished, sometimes I'll just say, hey, but it needs like a big good cleaning or tenants just moved out of there. Sometimes I'll just say like, hey, I'll pitch in $250 for the cleaning if we're not doing staging consult. So that's something you can add to it. Send all completed documents and fill in the new listing template email and send to transaction coordinators. If you're not using transaction coordinators on your listing, you are wasting at least anywhere from 3 to 5 hours if you're a new agent. I'd highly recommend not wasting your time.
Yeah, and we're just like I always think about this. We're salespeople and realtors. We're not like admins. And like doctors don't do their paperwork. They have an admin, lawyers, even like we're dealing with lawyers right now. We don't even deal with the lawyer, like we're dealing with his admin. So, being a professional salesperson, you should probably outsource the tasks that don't necessarily like doing paperwork isn't sales. So
I'd highly recommend. Book your pictures iGuide, 3D tour. It might not be iGuide, but most of the ones we work with use iGuide. Measurements and video with a photographer. Confirm with your clients at least 72 hours from media day that they're going to be ready. So if you have to make any changes to that video picture day, do so ahead of time. Otherwise, you can get charged cancellation fees. Show up day of at least obviously depending on the size of the house. If you have a giant estate home, you might actually have to be there even earlier than an hour, but I just put 60 minutes prior to verify the staging. Now, again, if it's an empty property and you've already been there a bunch the week before, use your discretion on this. But if it's a lived in property, I highly recommend at least 1 hour ahead. Put toilet seats down, open shower curtains, or close them if the shower's nasty. Make sure just like the staging plan they had with the staging consult was followed and everything looks as good as possible. Most of the time, clients are very good because they want their house sold. Sometimes you're scrambling, and if there's tenants involved, you're definitely scrambling to shove stuff anywhere you can to get out of the way, because I guarantee those tenants have not got the house ready to the standard you want. So show up early, put stuff away, get stuff off kitchen counters as much as possible. You want to show people the space. And toilet seats is a big one. There's an agent, he's maybe gonna join the team, but he's just getting his license and he does video edits too for people. And he sent me this real estate video and it was really good video. But like 3/4 of the way through, there's a shot, it's not his fault, he didn't film it. He just edited it. But like there's a shot of the bathroom and like the toilet seats all up, like fully up, and there's stuff on the counter and it's just like I'm like, that's the sloppiest day. It's like the one shot you ruin the whole thing because it just like looks sloppy and it's just easy to fix. So there's a staging checklist in school in the listing part. Bring that with you and you can just run through it. And I'll keep you on track for like what you need to look out for. There's some stuff for the exterior on there too, like garbage bins and all that. If you're using a good photographer, they're pretty good about it, but every once in a while they're busy too. They might miss stuff, so try to get there early. Collect the following from the seller or ensure the documents have been ordered prior to listing. So RPRs for everything except for conventional condos. Condo documents, if applicable. Any disclosures about the property, any upgrades or fixes that have been done recently. If they did their roof 15 years ago, like honestly, listing that doesn't help. But anything recent, make sure you understand what was done. Also, I've seen many times people get stuff fixed and it's not fixed very well. So it's good to know what was recently touched and you can take a quick look and see if it actually, helped the listing or not. Ensure agreement on communication frequency. So like when do they want to know stuff? How much do they need to know? Like make sure you guys are on the same page. Each seller is different. Some sellers might be like, hey, I'm gone for a week. Might be hard to get in touch with me. If I have an offer, then tell me it's urgent. Otherwise, just update me after the weekend. So I just understand where everybody needs for communication. Verify listing details prior to launching live listing in MLS. So whether you use a TC or not, go back through everything and just make sure it's all correct. You'll miss stuff. TCs will miss stuff. There's stuff they might not know. Which often happens. There's stuff on condos is the big one. Like a lot of things you need to dig through some documents for sometimes. So just make sure you have all your info ready and it's all looks good on there. Agents are pretty good about letting you know if you mess something up, but also there's some things that can get you in trouble. So suites, legal versus illegal, that kind of thing. So check through the entire listing. Install a lockbox and order the for sale sign to the property. Obviously, the for sale sign maximum 72 hours ahead of the listing going live is all you can put it up. Lockbox can go on whenever you want. Listing appointment and post to pre-listing appointment. Is there anything else you guys can think of right now that you're doing or that we've kind of missed in here? Sandy, does that one make sense to you? All right. Now we're on to some of the stuff we are just talking to. So 48 to 72 hours prior to live listing, post some sort of teaser. So if I'm doing pictures and video day and I'm going live pretty soon, like I usually just post them there. You can post a story from your picture video day as long as you don't put like address and stuff. But if you want a true coming soon post and with a bunch of information, you can't do that till maximum 72 hours before. So you can post a teaser, quick picture, quick video. Create or order the following and place in the home for launch. So a flyer or presented by a printout. We recommend doing a QR code so that people can sign up. You can get their information. You can, like we covered a few weeks ago, you can set that up on an open house form. You can set that up on a landing page. But you can send them to somewhere where they can sign up and you can have it so that they get information about the property back right away too. So whatever you can do to increase signups is always good coming through the house. Letter from the seller, like we discussed. Make sure you have your gnome candle, hug from the home jar. I'll show you that, guys. Show that to you in a minute. Other BRIX swag. Kids BRIX printouts. I have a few in school. They can use for open houses or anything else fun you want. Like Tina's got some cool stuff. Emily does too. Your business cards, and then door knocking invites or letters for the community. Make sure you have that ready to go. Once you put your listing live in MLS, then day one, you're going to post a freshly listed post. Carousel pics work well, or just a freshly listed. If the video is ready, then you could just post a video first too, up to you. But sometimes the videos aren't ready for launch day. So we've kind of put, hey, let's get the post out about the launch. Then let's get the reel out as soon as you get it back. So say day 2 or 3, or swap those around. Send your just listed email to your seller clients. So you should be sending them the link for the listing and you should be uploading pictures and video into a Google Drive folder and sharing that with them. If it's their personal residence, a lot of people like to have that stuff for the future. If they've been in there a long time, might be sentimental, but regardless, I just give them the link. If they don't ever want to look at it again, then so be it. But if they want it, they have the video, they have the pictures. They can also see everything you've been doing. So it's a good way to just keep your clients in the loop. Booking the open houses for the first weekend launch. Consider realtor open houses depending on the property. Create and share the open house graphics 24 to 48 hours prior to your open houses. Door knock around the community 24 to 48 hours prior to increase traffic. Send email to prominent agents in the area, advise them of the new listing, invite them to take a look, invite them to bring their clients through. Don't don't text agents and say like, do you have buyers for this? Like just invite them to come see the property. Stories on Instagram. This should be shared about the property daily and then weekly moving forward. But obviously this depends on time of day, but like constantly sharing something about the property will help your uptake. And then your weekly seller update. So this is in school too. There's a template in there for the email. There's all the resources you need for that. So make
Andrew,
sure, yeah.
just sorry to cut you off. I just want to piggyback before this gets lost. One thing, make sure your clients are following you on Instagram too, and they're seeing all of this. Just because it's really helped us. Riley and I, actually, this was missed, Andrew. Riley and I I didn't tell you about it. That's why I wasn't in there. 2 o'clock every Friday, we send every seller an update via email for their property. So how many showings that we had this week, feedback from the agent, like we give, yeah, so we had 6 showings. Here's the agents that showed it. Here's feedback from each agent. We might see an offer come in on this end. This is where their clients are at. Here's what I propose. Here's what's expected for social media posts for the upcoming week. So we do that every single Friday. Our sellers know they get that every Friday, and it kind of takes away all of the, well, what are you doing to market my property, or what's feedback on showings? Like our clients don't even ask us for feedback until it's after Friday at 2 p.m. And if they haven't heard from us on Saturday or like Monday, they're like, hey, what was feedback from this day's showing? But it keeps it all in one spot, and they know it all comes in written format at that time. And that's where you can show what you're doing to market the longevity of the property. But also, as I was saying, like make sure your sellers are following you on Instagram so they can see it as well and actually see the insights. Like, our sellers see that the video got 10,000 views. MLS, it's not going to get 10,000 views. Like that is purely from mine and Riley's social platforms that they can't get from other agents or MLS. So they can see the credibility behind that. They can see you marketing the property, and then it makes them really happy. Like I'm just about to post a Carstairs price improvement, and I know the seller's going to be like, hey, thank you for posting this, blah 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 blah, and I'll include it in the recap on Friday.
My clients come up to me too. They'll be like, oh, I saw your update. Like, do you think we'll get this sold? Like, I know they're watching my stuff, right? Because they're watching my market update. Oh, this is going on. So I just put weekly seller update. You could pick the day. I do mine on Mondays because I just want to cover the weekend. So, but depends on what you want to do, what you want to do with your clients. But weekly seller update is the key. So realtor.ca showing time reports, relevant market updates. So new competitions that's popped up or new solds that are relevant. Definitely key to keep your client in the loop there. And it's good for you to be like, oh yeah, I should go check what's going on in the market right now. Because sometimes you don't realize like, oh, the house 2 doors down just got listed too for 20 grand less. So like keep on top of the market. Changes in the marketing plan, feedback on items they could address. You're gonna see stuff. Like we're like really good carpet cleaners are going to my condo listing right now because my clients tried to do it and it's not good enough. So I've told them that feedback multiple times and they have now booked in the proper guys to get this thing sorted. So they're getting that done. So any and all feedback from showing agents, if they've registered the feedback and showing time, it'll be on that showing time report too. That's a nice part about that report. It just shows everything. So all your showings plus all the feedback. So that's a good one to send people. Day 10, repost the listing is available on social. So refresh that post. Day 15, your social media post on 3 amazing traits of the neighborhood or area of your listing. Like start doing some more stuff about what's around the listing, those local businesses like Sid touched on, anything like that. Day 30, like I touched on, change highlight picture, rewrite property descriptions, change order of pictures if possible, repost carousels and new reels about the property, discuss price corrections as necessary, and boost posts or run new ads featuring the property for more views. And then I just have like a day 60 reminder, repeat the above and consider further, realtor open houses, door knocking, etc. I'll post this as you guys go. If you want new things added to the checklist, just let me know and keep filling it in. But I wanted something like that covered everything with the client, plus the marketing. So I hope that helps. Questions on that?
Personally, like just a few things that I've done or noticed just through some of the clients I've had and things like that is like Facebook is still a great tool to use. I know it's a little older, but like some of the demographics I have dealt with, like they're like, well, I don't see it on Facebook. And like it's so easy to make one post and cross post it between like 6 different channels on Facebook, including Marketplace. And then I've even had like leads DM me, hey, is this available? Hey, do you have this? Or hey, what else is in the area type of thing. And then it's pretty like it's free. It's super simple. And the only other thing, like if I personally have never relied on just waiting for feedback through showing time, like if in my opinion, if like you're not calling whoever just looked at that property at least 24 hours after, like that's a lazy agent. Like there's no reason we can't pick up the phone and get like, hey, what was going on? Like, what did you think? What's the feedback? This and that. Because like I'm sure everyone else has experienced like filling out the questionnaire after a showing, like truly who does it and what good does that do? If you're not like every time I've ever had a listing, anybody who's looked at it, if I don't hear from them within 24 hours, I'm calling them, I'm having a conversation, and I'm relaying that to my client, and it's made a big difference.
100%.
Yeah,
Thanks for
Joel, I want to second that because we actually got a listing because of that. Like straight up, the agent that had it listed before for 3 months provided no feedback around the showings. Like even they would go to the extent to ask, and the agent would be like, "Oh yeah, normally there that just doesn't like agents don't leave feedback." Like that was the response she would give the sellers, which really pissed them off and ended up in a resulting of the termination of the contract. And like Joel said, no one ever uses the showing time thing. So I think that's really good practice to bake in is collect the feedback and then whatever standard you have set with your clients they can expect. So maybe the standard is, hey, 24 hours past a showing, like I'll give you an update on if I've been able to get in touch with the agent, or here's what the agent said. Or maybe the standard is they receive feedback from all showings from the week on Fridays, or whatever you guys set up with your clients, but ensuring you're actually being the agent to call these people and get the feedback because they won't leave it regardless. And actually, Auburn Bay brought an offer. I was on the phone with Andrew when this happened. Like this one agent didn't leave feedback. We called him 3 times too. Like he wouldn't answer his phone. And finally I got him on the phone. I was like, "What's your feedback for the property?" And he's like, "Actually, my sellers don't have financing quite in order, but they really liked it." And then I was on the phone with Andrew. My seller was like getting kind of annoyed that I didn't have feedback. And he actually had like written an offer after I called him. Like after I phoned him and asked about the property, we got an offer. So I don't know if that's what pushed it. Probably not, but it definitely created a set. Yeah, you guys
have to call people.
Yeah.
It catches the other agents off guard almost every time, but in a good
Yes.
way. Every time I've done it, they've been like, "Oh wow, like I have told them, oh, thanks for calling me. I really appreciate this and all that." And the amount of like it's ridiculous. I think we can all talk about the amount of showings we've been on and never received a phone call after. Like it doesn't make sense. We all have time to make a 5-minute phone call. And like through the experiences I've had, like I said, I've had people who were frustrated with a listing not selling as mine around the corner sold. And they had listed with an agent who's been doing this probably longer than I've been alive. And I knew exactly what he wasn't doing. And it was so easy to sit there at their kitchen table and literally highlight all these pain points and like make it like these are the simplest things and he's not even doing them. Like legitimately, I asked them, I'm like, okay, so when the showing's done and he gives them a call and asks them for the feedback, what does he say? And they're literally like, oh, well, they don't fill out the feedback form. I'm like, oh, he doesn't have 5 minutes to call the agent after a showing. And like right then and there, they're looking at each other like, what the fuck is this guy doing? Like, seriously. So it's pretty easy. It's a small thing, but like that's can set you apart from other people. And it's the simplest task.
And
Uh,
one thing too is like I've never ever 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 heard of somebody complaining on over communication. Never. You never hear, "Oh, I didn't like that agent because they over communicated with me." You always hear, "I'm not working with this agent because they don't answer their phone. I'm not working with this agent because they didn't provide me feedback. I'm not working with this agent because their communication sucks." So I even say this when I'm calling online leads. I personally, in my experience, and even before I was in real estate, I did business to business sales. I've never experienced over communication being an issue ever.
no,
So just over communicate. People will tell you if they think if you can tone it back.
yep. So on the screen, I have email I sent yesterday for my clients. We just passed the first month. So attached the reports as usual. I just recapped how many showings we've had. I recapped a couple of agents I just spoke to again yesterday, which they have the report, so they know what I'm referring to if they can look at the report. So I talked to Dawn. She said our clients are going to pass due to the stairs. Nick's following up with his clients again. I told him the carpet cleaning's going on because they were complaining about the floor. So just told him, hey, these are conversations we just had. Not really any competition right now. One of the 4-bedroom units, which is twice the size of theirs, uh, is still left on the market. The other one went pending. They can see all the current listings if they click that link, current listings and solds. So that just goes right back to Pillar 9. Just put a new post, running a new ad, getting more views, and I'm targeting Okotoks, South Calgary, and High River. And I'm going to work with agents that have shown and hope we get a few more showings this week. Let me know if the carpet guys have issues. The other thing I've been doing on this one is my clients are willing to pay credit the first 6 months of condo fees at sale. So when I'm reaching out to agents, I'm like, hey, I know the condo fees are a little high, but if it helps, like we can credit you $3,000 at sale. So having those conversations and like presenting what the client's willing to do is the things that you can do on the phone with agents and you can't do if they're not giving you feedback or not texting back, that kind of thing. Just pick up the phone and call them. It's easier.
So I have a question on that. The listing that I have up right now, there's another listing that's just down the street, $30,000 less, and I got a unrepresented lead come in on my listing. And after showing him, he was like, well, I want to go check out the one next door. I said, no problem. When we went to check it, although I've already checked it out before, but the first time I didn't actually we didn't open faucets, we didn't open cupboards or anything. We were just looking at it. When I took this lead to go take a look at it, he opened and checked everything, and everything started to fall apart. Faucets weren't working, the cupboards fell off like with the
What?
slightest handle. Everything just was bad. There was a leak from the faucet that wasn't working. There was a leak from the bathtub that you could see like a stain on the roof, um, and like through the kitchen, through the second floor. So all of that happened, and I'm a bit scared to call that realtor and give him my feedback on it because I don't want him to think that I'm sabotaging his listing next door. Um,
I write all that feedback, just go write in a showing time form or send him an email and then he can send it right to his client. Then you don't have to, then he's got it all because he needs the feedback for his client.
Yeah,
okay.
Sandy, he'll appreciate that. Like I went into a new build once and there was rotting poop in the toilet because the toilet didn't flush.
Nice.
And it was like a $1.6 million stage show home. And
Oh,
then
wow.
she kept like Joel, like to what Joel was saying, she kept requesting feedback and showing time. And I wasn't about to like write, there's rotting shit in your toilet. So I called her because Riley's like, no, if that was in our listing, like if that was sitting in Elk Park, how would you feel? And I was like, yeah, that's very, very, very true.
Something that's
So
gonna out the realtor like that, then yeah, call them. But if it's stuff like the client needs to see, I always make sure I write that down, either in the feedback form or in an email, because I know for sure he needs to send that to his client.
Okay.
Or he's gonna say, yeah,
Pictures.
that's why it's 30,000 less, right? Either way, but he needs to know.
And
Okay,
like,
but I wouldn't, because the first time, to be honest, the first time that I showed the first client that home, we didn't check for any of that. All we noticed was that the lock on the door took forever to open, and that was my only feedback. So the realtor was already rude in the point where when I called him because I couldn't get the door open, he just said it works, and then when I said okay, we got it, thank you, he hung up. So we're already on a very bad road. So I don't know.
Well, up to you. You don't have to save other people from themselves. So
Okay.
if he's not gonna call you and ask for feedback, then I guess you don't need to give it either.
Okay, so I wouldn't, because I'm the last realtor that showed that house, I
I
wouldn't be
always
blamed for
do.
anything.
I always do, but I'm just saying, like, you don't have to. You don't have to do anything on that regard. It's up to him to call you if he wants feedback. But I would like when stuff's falling apart, then yeah, I always tell them.
Okay.
Because if their clients see it, then that it might help them get the message through, or it might help their clients realize that like they need to do stuff.
Okay.
So it'd be good for them to see it.
Okay.
Long-term leverage on listings. So this is 60 days on market or further. Just again, reminder, turn your listing into more content. This helps you too. Use the home buyer nurture emails. Send your database again. Hey, you're still looking for something like this. Create more evergreen content around the community. Talk to your seller about any incentives we might want to do or anything they maybe can fix. Maybe you can get them a contractor to get something fixed. Like collaborate with them on how we can make the listing more presentable, and then keep ads running or retargeting. So seller communication, I think we touched on all this with the checklist too, but weekly updates, show them the analytics, bring ideas, and show them what they're doing. If they are not on social media, then show them what you're doing. You can send them links right to Instagram, Facebook, all that. You should be posting on Facebook and Instagram at the same time. That is a very easy thing to be doing. Like Joel said, that should be done every single time. If you don't have a business page linked, you can link your personal one on Facebook if you want, or you can make a business page. So marketing toolbox. So I put some pictures from Sid setup, just kind of show you. So the proudly presented by BRIX in the back end there, framed, got the QR codes. She's got the printouts. We got the gnome. We got the business cards. We got the hug from the home. So she's got the hugs in the jar for people to take one. And she's
So
playing on that with the sticker.
just to put in perspective, like I did this on how well that QR code works. I had 3 leads scan that and enter into our database, and one of them is the first time home buyer, like out of the olds listing. So like when you, for example, we had 14 people in our open house and there was I think 6 groups in there at once. Like we couldn't tackle all of that. And so I prompted people to scan the QR code and they filled it out. And there's a first time home buyer in the 3 leads we got off of that. And then also too, like you never know who's coming through a home. Like yeah, they might schedule a showing with their realtor, but like maybe they're not in a contract with that realtor. And if you're not in a contract with your realtor, like I will try to scoop you up 100%. I don't care if you've been on 5 showings with that realtor. If they can't get you in a contract, like it speaks to their negotiation, I'm going to try to swoop in and get that. If they are, I obviously don't step on any toes. So they might be going through with a realtor they're not in a contract with. They might be not happy with their realtor. Like that was another thing we found in olds too. There's this acreage listed and they're not happy with their realtor. So their contract's up in 10 days and Riley has a listing appointment with them. So that QR code really, really, really helps. You really don't know someone's situation. And if you can scoop 3 leads off a listing just by having that out, I'd say it's worth it.
100%. And if you're using Lofty, guys, the open house form's super easy to get all the feedback you need. You guys have tons of templates, content plans we've gone through many times. You got market reports, you got BRIX, you got so many tools in school, whether we sent you and newsletters, use them all. This is a marketing game. You need to spread the word all the time. So like use everything we have, social media, door knocking should be everything to get these listings sold. It will just get harder to sell listings. Like we showed, we're already up to like between 4 and 6 months of inventory, depending on where you are. So get those done and make sure you show your worth. If people come into listings and they see this stuff and they want to list their home and they're really happy with your listing, they're going to call you for an appointment. And you will get hired by people that are firing their realtors when they see that you're putting in the extra work and actually trying to get things sold. So like not every listing I do gets sold in 30 days. It's just, it is what it is. But my clients are happy because I keep them informed. I keep trying and I don't just say, hey, we just drop the price. Say, hey, I actually like the price. We're going to try this, this, this. In 2 weeks, we can discuss that again. So like Tim wrote me back on that email last night and he said, maybe we should drop the price after the weekend. And I wrote him back. I was like, actually, let's wait 2 more weeks at least because it's a holiday weekend anyway. So we're not gonna get the feedback we want this weekend. We just had our best showing week yet when we dropped it to 205 last week. So let's give it at least 2 more weeks and then we can look at it again. I'm like, we're in High River. It takes a little longer anyway, but we are the best lowest price option on the market. If we do a couple more things here, I think we're sold. Like, and I got a couple people are still interested from the showing. So like, you're not just like, yeah, let's just drop the price again. Like that makes you look bad in the end, and the client's not gonna be happy. If you say, hey, I think it's time to do price correction again, and this is why, because 2 other units just came on at 195, then they're like, yeah, no problem. That makes sense now. So just keep the communication open. All right, action plan for you guys. If you do not have a listing, then you could do this for any of the team listings that have been up over 30 days. So record a reel or create a post, like community wise, like try to get attention on the listing without just necessarily put in a just listed post, that kind of thing. Like try to get creative with that. Create a visibility plan for the next 30 days and then post your idea in school or post what you're going to do. For those of you who have your own listings, action this either, between 20 and 30 days if you're not 30 days yet, but if you've hit 30 days, like start getting this action plan going. So we want to get fresh content, can be more about the community or something else that's fresh about the area, but try to tie it back to your house and your listing. Like, hey, this is what it looks like if you live in Cochrane. This is what it looks like if you live in Fireside. This is where your kids, what your kids can do if your family lives in Fireside. Like try to keep that going and then make sure you have a plan for the next 30 days and then communicate that with your client on your weekly updates. Hey, this is what I'm doing this week. Hey, I liked what we did last week. It worked really well. I'm not going to tweak anything this week. We'll reevaluate after the weekend. That's fine too. But like tell them what you're going to do every week so they understand you're working for them and they'll be happy.
Yeah, just to touch on that, like for example, today I had my seller pick 5 places she loves in Carstairs, and like I do not want to do this, but I'm doing it to keep them happy. I'm driving up to Carstairs. I've already called some of the local business owners, and like I said, I'm taking pictures of all the 5 places she recommended, so I can say, these are some small town charming spots in Carstairs, places you could check out if you call this town home, and like I'll do a carousel of that. But I thought about it. I'm like, it might actually be worth my while because these business owners know I'm coming and they're willing to collaborate on the post. Which, like, who's following the Carstairs Pizza Shop? Like, people in Carstairs that might be looking to buy. That was like who just bought our other Carstairs property, was someone who was renting and then bought. So that's a way I'm choosing to get creative, even though I don't want to drive an hour up the highway to do it. But it's what's required when you have a listing sitting for like 60 days almost.
Yeah, I was going to say your 60-day marker pretty much.
Yeah, so those like getting really, really creative with it.
Yeah, like you're most likely not gonna get fired if you're like 6 months into a listing and you've been doing all these things.
100%.
Because then it's not you and you're doing your job. It's like, hey, we're still too high. Hey, the market's crashed on us. Hey, there's just too much competition at this price point. We gotta, differentiate our listing more. But like it gives you leverage to get more stuff done from your clients to do more stuff, but it also shows that you are trying. It just might take a while.